Hey everybody, it's April week 2, and this is the Deephaven community team back with another demo. Let's get started. Alright, first up, I just wanted to show some new scripts that I've added for launching Deephaven. So from the command line now, when you pip install Deephaven, you can now run Deephaven from the command line just by entering Deephaven. And I've got a help command there. So one of the commands the only command we have right now is to start the Deephaven server. And there are a couple of options there as well. So you can set your host or your port and add some JVM arguments. But just in the default case, you can just type Deephaven server and it will launch Deephaven and then open it up in the browser for you. So that's just another way to launch Deephaven that should make things a little bit easier. Next up, we have Don, who's going to show some of the cleanup he's had with Deephaven UI default elements. So Don, take it away.
Yep, so I've just been cleaning up some of the default padding, layout, and margin that gets applied to Deephaven UI elements by default. So I'm just going to run through some quick examples here. The first one is we just have a table and a plot, and they both appear as they always have. And then there's going to be a series of tables that are just returning a table or returning a plot or returning a table wrapped in a UI table or wrapped in a panel implicitly or explicitly. And they all look the same intentionally, just as a proof of no regressions. Then the next thing we're going to look at is returning two tables. So previously, these would be butted up directly against with each other. Now there's default padding that goes around the outer edge of them and a border that's applied to tables. Whether you do that implicitly or explicitly, it's the same.
Can you just zoom in just a little bit, just to
a bit more?
A little bit more office, yeah. There we go, perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I lost my place. Where was I?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're returning implicitly, it's the same, or if you're using explicitly a panel, it appears the same. If you return an inner flex, flexes also will now still maintain that padding around it, and the gap between them is automatically applied for you. And that applies whether you're returning a raw table or wrapped in a UI table. It looks the same. Here's an example of just returning some straight text fields together, adjacent to each other. You'll note that there's no margin that I've had to manually apply. There's no gaps or padding that I've manually had to apply. It's all just automatic for you. Here's it the same, but as a row. Here's just some tables, some plots, all applied automatically again for you. Here's a mix of which example is it? This one of a text field, a table, a text element, and another table. And again, it's all just neatly spaced. Here's a common example of putting a bunch of text fields across the top here. Again, note the lack of having to specify any margin or padding or anything. It just will look nice by default for you now, where possible, or as a row. And then the other thing that came along with this change is we now support background color on UI panels or on UI views. So that can look like this. And you'll note that I'm using any of our theme colors like green 200 or semantic color like positive. And the advantage of doing so is when you switch themes, those colors will switch and maintain consistency with your theme. The biggest change is UI panel now has a selection of padding and flex options applied to it, as well as some new defaults for those options. That's it for me. Thank you.
All right, very cool. Yeah, the Deephaven UIs are going to look great now. There you go. So we'll look forward to seeing what you can do with that. And that's all I got for this week. So we'll see you next week. Cheers.